From 10 Tampa Bay, this is a weather impact alert.
And right now we're breaking into programming for a weather impact alert for you here, tracking Tropical Storm Debby. And this is 10 Tampa Bay. I'm Dave Wagner.
And I'm Courtney Robinson. At this moment, you can feel, you can see the impact of Debby across the Bay Area. I want to give you a live look at the Howard Franklin Bridge right now. We saw, you can still see right there, right? The waves crashing over onto the roadway. We've been seeing this all evening long. As of right now, all of our bridges do remain open, including the Skyway. Troopers want you to be careful driving over these bridges in the conditions that we have right now. Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins joining us.
And Bobby, we have been seeing tornado warnings throughout the evening. Nothing right now in terms of tornado warning.
Nothing right now, and that threat is lowering. It's moving further to the north, so that's good news for us. The flooding threat is a problem, and it will remain a problem for the next several hours at least. We have reports of multiple 911 calls for flooding from vehicles, from homes. Those first responders are out there doing a lot of work tonight. We thank them very much for that, but that's because of the very heavy rainfall that we've seen. So let's get straight to the radar now. I want to show you the big picture here. This is Tropical Storm Debby. We just got an update that it has 70-mile-per-hour winds. It says it's moving to the north at 12 miles per hour, but I want you to look at this track here. You see how it's moved to the northeast? It is wobbling, but it has moved now to the northeast. It has taken that turn, and that's going to put the center, if it stays on this, that's going to put it right up into here. And what that means is Citrus County, you are going to get a bigger hit from this. So we're already thinking 5 to 7 foot surge. That number might come up. You have not seen as much rain today, but obviously just in the last couple of hours, you've seen a ton, and you've got more coming in at you here in the next several hours. Now, the center, this was from earlier today. Let me clear this out and show you what we're looking at right now. Essentially now, it's north of the area of Tampa. It's almost due west of Weeki Wachee at this point. That's right on the border of Pasco and Hernando County. You can see our watches and warnings. It's still, nothing's really changed as far as that goes. But this track, 85-mile-per-hour winds with landfall, likely mid-morning, maybe early morning, but somewhere in the morning hours, 8, 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning up in the Big Bend. It should strengthen to a hurricane. It's on the cusp right now, 4 more miles per hour, and it's a hurricane. And then this thing just sits there and meanders. It will get out of our hair. We'll have a couple of small rain bands on the backside, but I'm telling you what, southeast Georgia, the coastal areas, we call it down east of South Carolina and eastern North Carolina, they are going to get deluge. They could get more rain than us, and we'll be talking numbers up in the upper teens to near 20 inches of rainfall. Look what we've seen. This is today, and we still have some rain left over, but anywhere from 4 to 8 inches, pretty much what we expected, and right along the coast, we still will add to those numbers. I mean, 1 to 3 inches east of I-75, but you can see where it is now. Look where the rain goes. Those yellows, that's 8, 9, 10 inches of rainfall. And so you can see, even compared to what we saw, they're going to get it much worse than what we will, and that will be through Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Here's a quick look at it making landfall tomorrow morning early, but look at all those bands that are still over top of us. Our rain is actually already starting to thin out, and that trend will continue. Now here comes another issue. Look at the wind gusts at St. Pete, 60 miles per hour. The wind is now on shore. It's blowing in that direction. It's blowing water up against the coast. We are at low tide. What was it, 10 o'clock? We had low tide this evening, or it's coming up, right? We will go to high tide around 5 in the morning tomorrow morning, and this wind will be blowing. It will be maybe a little less than what we have out there right now. But look, the low tide is not going to drop any from here on out. The water levels will only get higher. We're still thinking about 3 to 5 foot of surge because of that. Look at the gusts, 62 this past hour in St. Pete, 60 down in Sarasota, 40s even up into the Bay. This is the forecast as we go through tonight, and I'm going to stop at around 5 in the morning. That's that next high tide. These are gusts, but sustained winds in the 30s, gusts in the 40s. Not quite as bad as we've seen, but that's up there, and that water will be coming up just with the moon's pull anyways. So I expect some severe issues with that 3 to 5 foot number right around 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Then after that, you see the wind does come down, although it will stay breezy all day. I've talked to folks that are down in Venice and Vamo. They're saying, man, the wind's rougher now than it ever has been. Were you here for Irma? Because Irma is the same thing. When that wind turns and comes off the water, it picks up. We had our highest wind gusts on the backside of Irma. And that was just because there's nothing actually slowing it down out over the water. It's going to be a loud night. It's not terrible, but 30s and 40s for the winds with gusts in the 50s along the immediate coast all night long. That's why we upgraded that to 3 to 5 foot storm surge for the Tampa Bay area, and then 5 to 8, and that includes Crystal River. All right, especially with this turn to the east. So 3 to 5 in our area, higher the further north you go. Look at that low tide that's getting ready about to happen. It's not going any lower than that. In fact, I don't think it even lowers what it is right now. But by the time we get to 5 o'clock in the morning, you see the 2.7 and then 1.64. Those are the normal tides. That's not the level that it will be. That's just the normal tide. And so what it shows you is that that tide from earlier this afternoon around 2 o'clock, that was a normally high tide because of the new moon. The next high tide's only a foot less than that, but that's got wind on top of it blowing water in. So I think it's going to be comparable to what we just saw. And the wind gusts, generally in the 50s to low 60s, those could get just a little bit higher. I think we've seen most of the wind that we're going to see, but it's going to feel rougher overnight tonight, especially along the coast. In fact, many areas of the beaches will get higher wind gusts tonight than what they've seen most of the day. Okay, that's enough. Let's get over to Colleen. She's been standing here nicely waiting for me. Colleen, let's go by and show them what we can expect for the overnight hours with our models.
Yeah, so Bobby made a lot of excellent points here. So the next couple of hours overnights moving into Monday morning is where we really have to pay attention to our coastal areas. So here we go. We're going to walk through Futurecast here. We have this at 10 o'clock. As we mentioned, we're right around low tide at this time. Winds are going to continue pushing onshore here, taking more of a west-southwest component, and then eventually here we are around 2 a.m. and you really see how those winds are pumping in from the west-southwest on the 2 o'clock model here. Now, going forward, yes, we are starting to see that storm push away. It makes landfall. We're looking at that later on tonight to tomorrow morning. And then we still have those impacts. So it's going to take a while for things really to start winding down here. Now, this is at 6 a.m. And again, we just mentioned this, high tide is close to 5 a.m. Crystal River, it's a little bit closer to 6, but for St. Petersburg, it's around 5 a.m. So just an hour difference there, but the winds will be pushing that water onshore, and we will have these training rainstorms that just keep going over these areas that some areas are still bruised from previous storms in the past, right? We mentioned that a couple times. All right, so here we go into Monday, 10 a.m. now. We are starting to see things slow down. Don't forget, too, we still have that tornado threat that goes until Monday morning, and that's really just that tornado threat we'll go over in just a second, but it's really in those outer bands that you have to pay attention to where things just want to get a little bit squirrely, and we can have some rotation on the outer bands there. Okay, so walking through Futurecast a little bit more here. Now we're entering into Monday afternoon. Winds are really coming in from the west at this time, and then for our inland areas, we have that southerly wind that's pumping in here. So still, that moisture is being driven into our area, and we will have those tropical downpours that will really linger into Monday afternoon. Finally, we get some bands that are the last little hurrah, if you will, that will be pushing through our region by Tuesday morning, very early Tuesday morning. We could still have another tropical downpour left over as that system pushes out. So watches and warnings, again, we have a storm surge warning. That's for Tampa Bay. That extends into Big Bend, where we are expecting that landfall. And then Southwest Florida, they have that storm surge watch. And we did go over our tropical storm warning that is still in effect at this time for much of the West Coast here, highlighted in that blue color. The exception would be, of course, those areas that are highlighted in that hot pink color that's looking for that hurricane warning. So hot, pink, red, whatever you want to call it, they are under that hurricane warning because that's where we're expecting this storm to eventually make landfall as a Category 1 hurricane. Flash flood warning, this goes until 9:15 tonight for Hillsborough and Pinellas County. We may see it expire a little bit earlier for Manatee and Sarasota counties. However, we have had some water rescues over in Manatee and Sarasota County earlier today. And remember, we can still get flooding about 6 hours after a major rainfall event. So that's important to keep in mind. Just because the rain's not coming down and deluging downpours, we can still have some flooding occur because those creeks, rivers, streams are just overflowing and they have nowhere to go, all that excess water. Tornado watch goes until 6 a.m. Monday morning. And of course, we want to send it over to Bobby Deskins to
Well,
get the last thoughts
I
here.
wanted to mention, if you could back up to that one thing, or I can do it right here. She was just talking about the flash flood warning. Remember we had it, it was all up and down western Manatee and western Sarasota County, and then it went up into Pinellas. That was what I was talking about the multiple 911 calls for helping people that were stranded in flooded waters. I want to point out that eastern Hillsborough County will continue to see that band of rain move over top of them. So it's Lakewood Ranch in Manatee County, perhaps even Duet, but certainly Waimama, Lakewood, Fishhawk, Brandon, even Plant City, Sonoma Sassa. You are going to see quite a bit of rain. If you do not have to go out tonight, please don't go out. That situation is going to get similar to what we saw over in Pinellas, and we know we had quite a bit of problem with that.